So, World Cup chat. Here we go, Bretton.
Oh my goodness.
How are you, Bretton?
I'm doing good. This feels it. Oh, hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
It feels early to be talking about this, but then again, we've been talking about the World Cup for the last. When was the draw? That feels like it was a year ago already.
Well,
When was the
true.
draw?
Facts. That was a couple of time ago. It is true, but
Yeah.
it's just early here. We're early stages here, guys. So
Mhm.
here our thoughts are no conclusions still, okay? No final predictions, but we have a ton to say that must be said of the World Cup, okay? So we'll go group by group. And yeah, so if you're early here, just put your quick predictions of who do you think is gonna win the World Cup, the golden boots, and the young player of the tournament. Put down below your predictions. And do not
I-
forget to like this video and this live if you want to see more videos just like this, people. Sorry, Bretton.
No. I'm always interrupting you, but I have to say there are two conclusions we can make. There are two facts that have come out already about World Cup 2022 in Qatar, and that is that there will be alcohol-free stadiums. Bummer. And
You were
that the
honest.
world and that the 2022 World Cup field is finally set in stone. I know this feels like it was a long time ago, but we have Wales, we've got Costa Rica, and we've got Australia. So now we get to look at all the, mouth-watering matchups that's going to happen in the group stage. And I have to say that World Cup 2022 takes on a bigger significance if you know what World Cup 2026 is going to look like. Okay.
True.
We know World Cup 2026 is going to be in my neck of the woods over here in the States, in Canada, in Mexico. But there's a more important thing. The groups of four that we're going to be talking about, right? The groups of four that we're going to be talking about,
Yes.
they will be gone in 2026. Gone.
Change
They will-
scenario. No World
It
Cup
will.
before. What?
No World Cup with four membered groups. Instead, you're going to have 16 groups of three in 2026, where the top two make it through. Number one goes into the first seeds. Number two goes into the second seeds. And then what you've got is a round of 32 knockout round. So the World Cup as we know it
will
or
be
as you and I have known it, it will be changed in 2026, which makes us have to go even bolder for 2022. So back to 2022, man. Where do you want to start?
Yes. So let's go here with just the quick thoughts here. I'm going to say on the favorites right now in the world stage, okay? Just going to shout here. Argentina, in my opinion, with Messi, clear favorites. Neymar, Brazil. And we gotta say France. That got to beat the curse. France has to beat the curse. That's the first opponent, okay, with the group stages. But those are the top three, in my opinion. Would you say, no? For the World Cup?
I'd say you're right there. I think some people will want to say, Italy beat England in the Euro 2020 final, so England should be part of the favorites group. But ultimately, as we saw, if the UEFA Nations League is any test for how they're going to look or even remotely look in the World Cup, then England and France have got some sorting out to do. But I'll tell you what, I do like the shout in the chat, about Netherlands, right? You have some of the up and comers, but I think you hit the nail on the head. You got Arsenal. My goodness, my brain is on drugs or something. Wow, an Arsenal. Yeah, you got Argentina. You got Brazil, and you've got France. Absolutely. And out of that bunch, if you had to pick a winner right now, I mean, who would you go with?
Let's go. Nah, joking. No, Brazil. I'll say Brazil. Okay, my compadres, they speak Portuguese, so nah. But with all seriousness, Neymar has to go bold, just like Messi, I understand. But Neymar too, I believe, at 30, now's the time, okay? And you were mentioning Netherlands, and I love it, because here we go with the Group A, okay? We can start here with Group A with Netherlands. And you said, you mentioned fast, in the Nations League, if that was an indicator, my days, okay, the Netherlands went bold in the Nations League. And two
Yeah.
players, okay, I got to talk here. Depay with the goal scoring for the Netherlands. Oh my days, this man goes bold. Frankie de Jong with the maestro, with the responsibility given to him in the national team that he deserves. And then, I gotta say this about the Netherlands. They got one of the best center-back duos in the world of football with Virgil van Dijk and De Ligt. And if that's not enough, De Vries just comes off of the bench. So, like, he'll start with 3. But, like, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable, the options. So,
Yeah. And what's even crazier is if you look at the summer's transfer activity, right? If you look at what's happened in this transfer activity, we've got some names, we've got enough time from now until the beginning of this World Cup that you've got some other names that could come in there and give the Netherlands some incredible depth, because we don't know who might get injured. We don't know any of this stuff. But what we do know is that Bergwijn is on his way back from Tottenham to Ajax to link back up in the Eredivisie. And you've got Sven Botman gone to Newcastle United for 37 mil, which is kind of a steep cost for a guy that, believe it or not, has never played for the Dutch national team. He's never played for them yet.
30% more that offer had than AC Milan, Newcastle.
Yeah.
So, and complete new defense, just going to shout that out. Nick Pope, Trippier, Botman, Dan Burn, and Target. Complete new defense at Newcastle and the foundation to go bold next season in the Premier League. I just wanted to say that one.
And I think it really comes down to the fact that can Depay continue to deliver to a much higher level for the national team than he does, obviously, for Barcelona and maybe for a new club. We don't know. It seems like Depay is probably staying, although I know you for a long time were saying he's probably on the chopping block, especially if they need to, raise money to sign anybody from here on out that's not a free transfer. But what it comes down to is if the Netherlands are going to win this thing or get through Group A, win this thing, they are going to need somebody aside from Memphis Depay to, chip in for goals, for assists. And it's going to have to be, whether it's a Daniel Malen, whether it's a Cody Gakpo, it's going to have to be one of these guys, a Myron Boadu. It's going to have to be one of these guys that really come up and give them a little more depth in that attack so that it doesn't just fall on Depay and is, I'd say above average goal scoring for the Netherlands. I think he's moved into second all time for the Netherlands.
Will go bold, you reckon, and be in the history books for the Netherlands in the future.
Sure. Why not? I mean, he's got every right to do it, and you have to look at who he's playing against in this Group A. Yes. You've got Ecuador, you've got Senegal, and you've got the host nation Qatar. Now, we all know that the host nation tends to do some things. They tend to do well. The sheen sometimes comes off after a while, and we're obviously getting a little bit further into host nations having less of a footballing culture, right? I know that's tough to say, and if we have any Qatari fans on here, I apologize, but ultimately, it's whether or not they can take 3 group stage games in a row against some pretty tough competition. So I think, long story short, I think Depay has every possibility to go in and be one of the leading scorers, believe it or not just in the group stage, but also in the whole tournament. Now, it is bold, but I'm not calling him a Golden Boot favorite just yet. But I'd love to hear what other people think on this, because if you look at his run of games against Ecuador, against Senegal, against Qatar, he has the ability to score 3 or 4 goals in this group stage. And then it really comes down to who he faces, and he might be facing, I don't know, the U.S., he might be facing Iran. If they can top Group A, he might be facing I'm just saying, from the look of his results, it could happen. But it really all comes down to, I think, depth with the Netherlands and whether or not these other players can step up, whether or not we get anything from Gini Wijnaldum, and wherever he winds up. And there's always going to be 1 or 2 players that really surprise us, like Ajuri Timber.
But with Depay, I got to say, like, the top goal scorer mention, I love it because it can happen, because this is a player that for the Netherlands, completely different, okay? And with the motivation to prove himself to the world that he's a lion, just like he's got at the back of his on his back tattooed. Okay, big time. Memphis Depay. He's got that eagerness to prove. So I believe I like that prediction, but I want to mention too, you mentioned fast Senegal and Ecuador and Qatar. For me, Qatar, unfortunately, if any Qatar fans are listening, there's a good chance they'll end third or fourth in my opinion. I do not reckon they will go through, but the Netherlands lately, great form, but I gotta say, Senegal won the AFCON. And if they won, okay, the international trophy in their continent, they deserve a ton of respect with Sadio Mane, Edouard Mendy, Koulibaly. That is a solid team they got there at Senegal. So I'm gonna say, but Ecuador, last mention. Ecuador is a team that no one should sleep on, but is a team, in my opinion, will be better in 2026. Players like Moises Caicedo, players like Hincapie of Bayer Leverkusen, excellent center back, okay? One of the best center backs in the Bundesliga, if not young center backs in the world, okay? He's great. He's a great player. I don't expect him to stay too long. But, long story short, I will say Senegal right now. I give him the edge. And yeah, Netherlands and Senegal. Sadio Mane can be not a Golden Boot winner in my opinion, but in the top 5 of the Golden Boot if he goes bold against a team like Qatar or Ecuador.
Well, I do need to ask you. Okay, Sadio Mane playing within kind of squad depth with Liverpool. Do you think the move to Bayern Munich, where for all intents and purposes, while it could be harder this year without a properly motivated Lewandowski if he's forced to stay, or any of that craziness that might be going on at Bayern, do you think the move from Sadio Mane to Bayern is a positive or a negative for Senegal's chances, or are they completely unrelated?
Positive, because physically he'll be better than ever, and he will have more responsibility than he's ever been held as a player at club level. And internationally, if he as a club will reflect internationally too how he feels. I really believe that will help motivating Sadio Mane, and I do believe the level he'll be at Bayern will be better. But I love it. It will be a different player. But I like it. I like how you mentioned that one. That is a great question. And just saying to people, put down below who you think is going to win Group A, okay? Put your bold predictions. And do not forget to like this video or live if you're enjoying. Go bold. But I'm loving it.
A couple other mentions within A here. And I feel bad because maybe as we get closer and we see Qatar play a few more friendlies, we'll be able to name. I mean, we all know Akram Afif, right? We know some of. Akram Afif is my favorite player on that team. And I know, of course, you got to know. Yeah. One of the players that I think, and I actually do agree with your statement that Ecuador is going to be more dangerous in 2026 than they are in 2022. But I also think they're an unknown quantity to the point where I think they're going to be dangerous in Group A, and they will be pretty dangerous to anyone if they make it through. Say it's England that tops Group B. They'll be pretty dangerous if they make it through in second place. And there's a reason why. You've got guys like you mentioned, Hincapie, like you mentioned, Caicedo, but there's also a guy who just made a move to League One that I like, that I've seen on the rise. He played for Boavista this past year. Jackson Perozzo is one of those guys that could go in 2022 and surprise some people. But I definitely think you'll see him as an absolute stalwart in the back in 2026. Yeah, for sure. But Senegal, man, you look up and down its spine. It's just whether or not they all show up. I mean, you've got Koulibaly, right? You've got Idrissa Gueye, right? You've got Pape Matar Sarr. You've got up top, you're a little, Keita Balde, Ismail Assar on the wing, but it's really all comes down to Sadio Mane. So from a on paper perspective, I 100% agree with you. I think Senegal's the favorite to go second, but I do think Ecuador is going to pip them, go second, and Senegal's going to be crying and going home. So I don't know. Anything else you got to say about Group A, or what's the chat saying here? Anyone actually
bold predictions? I see here already a bold prediction here, Mark. Thank you for going bold, okay, and saying that comment with England, because Group A leads up to Group B, and that's a bold one with England, Iran, the States, and the bold national team with Gareth Bale that just joined the MLS. And Wales, come on, Wales has arrived in Group B. That for me, Bretson, how are you feeling with that? How are you feeling with Wales arriving next year?
Wales is going to be tough. Wales is going to be very tough. We played them in possibly one of the most boring friendly draws that I've ever watched in my entire footballing existence. But Wales and the USA, Wales and England, Wales and Iran. I mean, these are all very minorly intriguing matchups.
Yes.
Okay, but yes, we get Wales first, and I honestly believe, here's a conspiracy theory, Gareth Bale is a Welsh spy coming to take our American money and scout on all. No, I'm just kidding. None of this
makes
is
sense.
true.
Joining the MLS.
Hey, if you're he's not gonna play tonight. I don't think he will. But El Trafico, LAFC, LA Galaxy. Hey, MLS, give us some money or something for advertising this. They're playing tonight.
Gee, I've seen him speaking on telly. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Love it.
Chiellini's out there telling Christian Pulisic to go to Juventus and join Weston McKennie, Chiesa, Vlahovic, and a certain Paul Pogba in the future. But Group B, come on. On paper, you got to look at it and you got to say, obviously, England's the favorite. But there have been many a World Cup in the past where England has been the favorite heading into things, and it doesn't necessarily work out that way. Now, I think this particular English team is deeper and is more talented than some of the teams that have represented them in past years. Okay? And I think that that's only going to get better with Calvin Phillips at City, right? It's only going to get better if there's more internal competition for Raheem Sterling heading to Chelsea. We think that's going to happen?
Yes, I do. Definitely going to leave City, and he will be given more responsibility. And I think Chelsea, yeah. I think Chelsea.
Okay. And more importantly, internal competition, I think, for goalkeeper as well. I mean, you've got Ramsdale and you've got Pickford that are probably ahead of the pack right now.
Yes.
But if a Dean Henderson going to Nottingham Forest, finally leaving United for his foray into the first team again. Remember him at Sheffield United several seasons ago. He was wonderful. He could work his way into the number one mix in the next 4 months. And Nick Pope.
And Nick Pope at Newcastle, because let's be honest, mention fast, I think that will be one of the best defenses in Premier League next season in terms of stats, because home territory in Newcastle is hard to beat. And you said it, I agree with you. England has got to be favorites. But if England don't go through in Group B, that will be not bold. It will be the opposite of bold. So England has to go bold, and Southgate make the right decisions. And I've seen he's called Tomori, okay? And I believe Tomori, Tammy Abraham, players that weren't getting called will be definitely and should be, okay? You mentioned Calvin Phillips with City will improve. I'm going to say Sancho at United is a player that will, or Rashford, will improve big time with Ten Hag and can be in a big key player in this World Cup in 2022. So that's
you might think that they can. You might think that they can, but I'm going to do you one better. They have to. They have to improve. They must improve. Because just because they spent 100 million euros on you doesn't mean you're guaranteed a spot on the field. Okay, minorly guarantees a spot on the field. But
too, that I think will lead up in incredible fashion to the World Cup. It's Harry Kane, okay? If Harry Kane at Tottenham with Conte, I believe will have a ton of confidence leading up to this World Cup. And let's be honest, Harry Kane loves to play for England. You can see it. He likes it. He likes that responsibility. And he knows there's a chance to be a legend, an icon at a national level, okay? A real national level. Be a treasure for England. That is elite levels. And Kane, if he wins a World Cup ahead of Messi with Argentina, Neymar with Brazil, Ronaldo Portugal, Harry Kane will be remembered to have beaten these names. And that for him is history at the highest level. So I gotta say England number one. And I just want to say too here with my time, Iran should not be slept. And I do believe Iran will take points to US or Wales. I don't know which
Okay.
one, but Iran will be problematic with Sardar Azmoun and Taremi that I know well. Taremi is bold. Okay, if he was younger, Taremi wouldn't stay at FC Port. If he was 22, 23. So,
Well,
yeah.
all
Sorry.
I can say is they better wrap Azmoun in bubble wrap from now until then, so that he doesn't get injured before this. Because yes, I mean the Iranian depth is
Yes.
not exactly large, but you also have another guy within the Iranian camp, Syed Manesh. That's very good, a great winger, and somebody that you've got to watch out for, especially if you're going to sleep on them, like England, Wales, and the U.S. Like they're hoping all three of their compatriots do. But one more thing about England. There is something that I don't know if it's a positive or negative, and I'd like to know what people think. But because of COVID, because of the past several years, they have expanded the roster by about, I think it's 3 spaces, right? So instead of bringing 23, I believe we're going to get a roster of 26. For a team like England, that is huge. That is really, really big, I believe. Or maybe it makes it even harder to pick your starting 11 and get your guys out of it. But I think I'm going to go with it's a net positive for teams that are incredibly deep like England. So you can bring the players you want to bring instead of bringing, say, Alexander-Arnold, not just as a right back, but as a DM, a possible DM or something, right? I know. Oh, he's definitely going to be called. He's definitely going to be called this time. But as far as Wales goes, okay, as far as Wales goes, we're talking about Gareth Bale. Okay, we're talking about maybe Aaron Ramsey's got a little bit left in the tank. All right, but ultimately, what I want to see happen, is I want to see a Harry Wilson step it up. I want to see a Brennan Johnson, who was absolutely key to Nottingham Forest's rise to the Premier League. I want to see him step it up and get a chance. He might be a little too green. He might be a little too young so far, but he's started. Ampadu was one of the very few bright spots for Venezia on loan last year. I'd really like him to just find a home and stick to it and play there. Poor kid has racked up more miles than, I don't know, most European players.
I get a feeling that you go US, but I think I'll go Wales with this one, with Group B, because for me, Bale and Wales. Wales hasn't been in a World Cup since 1958. Wales were unbelievable in the last Euros. Bale knows this is one of his final international tournaments, okay? So I believe fully this man is about to go extremely bold, okay, when the world is watching for the national team. Wales, Gulf, Madrid. We all know the order, and that's how the order of things will be in the World Cup. That Bale can be a contender for the top 5 of the Golden Boot. Okay, top 5 goal scorer in the World Cup. So
you're going that far? You're going that far?
Bale can score like a free kick at any moment. Any moment.
But,
look, I'm calling this. I know that this will be here. If Bale goes bold and scores in a free kick,
I gotta see the chat on this. Oh my goodness!
So
I gotta say, I will respectfully disagree here, and not because Wales is playing the United States, who do have some defensive issues. But come on, this is the World Cup. This is their first time. You know what? It's either they are going to step up, lead the group or finish second and move on, or they're going to crash out because nothing works, right? I don't think there's going to be an in-between with Wales. And obviously, it's pass or fail. You're either top 2 or you're not top 2 when it comes to this. But now, I mean, I almost feel like, Alex, you're sleeping on the USMNT. You're sleeping on my team, man. I mean, come on, you've got CP10. Right. And I know playing for clubs does not translate to playing for the nation, but you've got Christian Pulisic heading into his first World Cup with a chip on his shoulder, with a supporting cast that is young, yet hungrier than all get out. Okay. And the biggest question mark I have on this team is, believe it or not, yes, our center backs and our goalkeeping, but it's our coach who's green, our coach. Right, heading into this, it's Berhalter. But you've got in the midfield, man. Listen to this. You've got McKennie. You've got Adams. You can put Aronson in there. You've got Yunus Musa, who's done phenomenally. You've got CP10. You've got Luca Della Torre, who just moved to Celta de Vigo in La Liga, who's highly slept on, in my opinion. You've got some guys, trusty guys like Kellen Acosta, who will do the job. I really do believe that if we can get everybody healthy, that's the key. We have what it takes. We have what it takes to definitely be top 2, and I will say it. We will make it out of this group. Okay. And we have what it takes, more so than in the past, to surprise a whole lot of people, potentially the Dutch in the second round. Because if you get a Gio Reyna that is 100%, because a lot of people have forgotten what this kid can do. A lot of people really have forgotten what this kid can do. If you Gio Reyna, I mean, technically, yeah. If he plays on the same pitch as Daniel Malen, and he can play a Boadu up. I mean, he's better than a lot of the Dutch players in many cases when he's full health, when he is 100% in form.
But he's worse.
But he's not. But he's not healthy right now.
But Pulisic definitely is at that level. I agree with you. And yeah, just mentioning Wales, I did say 1958. So yeah. I've got to say that England first. I'm gonna say Edged with Wales, but put down below, people. Who would you go for Group B? And do not forget to like this video if you're enjoying this. So can we go faster in the other groups?
No, not at all.
I'm joking. So Group
not if
C,
you keep.
Group C here with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Okay, and yes, obviously we gotta start here by saying the favorites here are clearly Argentina, okay? That starting here, I just want to say this is the first time in a long time that I really feel a huge momentum of Messi being happy for Argentina. Sure. The mood of Messi is through the roof. The man is so happy after winning 2 international trophies, the Copa America and La Finalissima. But the mood is fantastic. And the defense, I got to say with Messi, it's the first time in a long time that I see the Argentina defense, and I think that is unbelievable. And the reason why I say it is because they have Cuti Romero and they have Emiliano Martinez, okay? With the experience of Otamendi from Benfica, too, just want to mention that. But those two are absolutely key for them to win. And a player like the shadow, the ninja of Lionel Messi is Di Maria. Di Maria is the ninja, okay? He makes things happen for Argentina. He makes the Copa America happen. And yes, he's confident now going to Juve. This man is about to go bold, replacing Dybala in that position that I feel he's going to have freedom. And that will be bold, okay? That will be bold. So,
hey, I'm with you all across the board here. I honestly believe Cuti Romero is set to have probably a Defender of the Year type season for Tottenham if Antonio Conte gets what he wishes out of him. And I do agree. Well, first I got to ask you, just quick fire. Who do you think Lisandro Martinez is going to? Is it Man United or is it Arsenal? Who's going to win the battle?
I'll go Man United because of Ten Hag knowing Lisandro Martinez, but I believe he'd be better at Arsenal. Personally, because he's one piece away, Arteta. I get that feeling. One piece away of doing something incredible.
And bigger question, do you think Otamendi starts match day 1 in November?
I'm going to
Or do you think automatically, because Lisandro's at Arsenal or Man United, that automatically he's in there?
I say Otamendi starts next to Cuti. Otamendi, in my
I'd agree
opinion,
with you.
starts. Because it's experience, and I believe national team, a player like Pep plays for Portugal. Otamendi clearly has the ability to play for Argentina too. So, yeah, I like those 2 questions. That was bold here. And let me ask you here one. Do you believe Mexico's going to go through Group C, Breton?
Well, I will tell you that perennially, that based on history, Mexico will have no problem going through Group C. But
I believe.
I believe too. But with my, it's going to sound biased. They're going to be relying on all the same people, which is not a bad. It's not bad. True. But I don't see anyone new coming in for them to give them a step beyond what they've had previously. So it sounds like round of 16 to me, and then out. if you will, right? Because you're looking at like the transfer. Everybody stays within Liga MX. The only one outside of it, I mean, now you've got Hector Herrera back at Houston Dynamo. You've got Tecatito is probably going to be heading back to Major League Soccer too. Okay, not back to. Will be heading to Major League Soccer from what I hear. I hear it might be Nashville. But ultimately, the young guys, you've got Edson Alvarez, right, who is a stud. In my opinion, he's the best player on that team, aside from Memo Ochoa. When he plays internationally, he's a beast, right?
Yes.
But Edson Alvarez, and you've got Johan Vasquez, who plays abroad, who just loaned from, I think he went to Cremonese in Serie A and will remain in Serie A, which is good for them. But aside from that, who do they have, right? And not that playing in Europe means everything. In fact, Italy showed for years that a bunch of national team stars that play only in Serie A could do really, really well on the World Cup level. Mexico could show that too, but I don't see the talent, the fearsome, players like a Jared Borghetti back in the day, who every time we played this guy, I was scared. Every time we played this guy, Gio Dos Santos, when he was at his best, my God, he was so good. All right. I don't see that on this team. I don't see that on this team at all.
Jonathan was good.
Yeah. Jonathan was good. And they have other players that, when I used to see them take the field, I would be scared. But ultimately, I don't feel that anymore, except when Diego Lainez finally sees the field, because for some reason, he loves to score against the U.S. men's national team. But for Mexico, I'm going to say history tells us they're going to make it through. They'll be round of 16. But how can you see them going further? I don't know how you see them going further than that. And that is essentially the goal for all Mexican fans, is it not?
True. And like with Group C, I just want to say here on my end, Poland with Lewandowski, I got to say here too, if this man doesn't move to Barcelona this summer, that will be the motivator. That itself will be the motivator to go extremely bold in this World Cup group. That there's a possibility if Poland beats Mexico, they go through. But I have to say this. Saudi Arabia shouldn't be slept in this World Cup because of the climate. The climate is a factor, and they will know how to play in those circumstances. And I do believe that will be, it's a detail that we have to speak about, and I believe they will have that in their advantage. But I will go bold with my Mexico, I believe that they will go through, okay? Hopefully, Jimenez, can he come back? Can Jimenez come back?
I mean, he can. It really all comes down to whether or not he can start this season for Wolves, off the mark. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is, but we'll find out soon enough.
Wolves has been linking with Gonçalo Ramos, so Fábio Silva too with the loan to Anderlecht. I believe that's a great deal for Fábio Silva. No obligation to buy, just improve there. That he will go bold in the future. But Jimenez, yes, Mexico. Sorry, yeah.
No. I agree. Yeah. I mean, Jimenez, it comes down to it. I'd love to see somebody else come on board. I mean, I'd love to see Mexico take an Omar Campos, phenomenal fullback. I don't know if they're going to get that bold. They probably will. They probably won't take Omar Campos, but they will take Julian Araujo, who is actually an American-born Mexican player. He's Mexican-American. Yeah, he might go, but Julian Alvarez, goodness, we know who that is. Julian Araujo is a lock, in my opinion, for the roster. But yeah, you mentioned, beyond that, who is Mexico's kind of X factor, right? Who is going to be able to get it across the line? And we haven't even mentioned Chucky Lozano, because he's going to need to have a big tournament for Mexico to do what he needs to do. But the X factors for Argentina, the X factors are there for Poland, right? Argentina we didn't even mention Julian Alvarez, right?
True.
El Aranya. I mean, who knows? Who knows what he could do, right? The next 4 months, he could score 15 goals in the first 15 games for City before he hops on a plane to Qatar. He might not, right? You also have Enzo Fernandez off to Benfica. There needs to be a little midfield youth, a little midfield depth in there. Not that Rodrigo de Paul needs it and some of these other need it, but Enzo Fernandez is a phenomenal baller that 4 months from now, he might be on that plane. Okay? In Poland, you're going to see Kasper Kozlowski make a big step forward, especially if he starts playing every day for Brighton, which remains to be seen. And Jacob Kaminski for Wolfsburg is another young player you got to watch. They spent 10 million euros on him, which for Wolfsburg, if you're going to spend that much, he's going to play from the get-go. So I just don't know what Mexico has in terms of an X factor. And Argentina and Poland have some new guys up their sleeve that can maybe take some sting off of a Messi or take some pressure off of a Lewandowski. But
so
Group C is interesting.
So put down below, people, who do you think will go through in Group C? And the player to mention that we haven't. Who did we forget? Put down below in the comments, and do not forget to like this video if you're enjoying what you're seeing. Until now, the World Cup talk. So, Group D now here with France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia, okay? And I gotta say here, gotta go Denmark, okay? Denmark has no curse, no World Cup curse, and I believe they will go through in this group because they got such a good core. Denmark with Schmeichel, Kjaer, I hope he's back on time. Eriksen, I love Mile at the fullback. He's so good. And then you have young players like Jonas Wind, that unbelievable. Lindstrom, really good player too. So I really believe the Danish can't be slept, and they will go through in Group D. So yeah.
And you think as the group leader?
I would say France, but can go 2 second, but definitely if there's a curse being here evoked, I see Denmark being the first.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's the depth, man. France can be like, France might play our team C against the curse and they win it. So I'm
but here's why I think France is going to break the curse. Okay, France is going to break the curse. We all know, the talent that France has at their disposal. I've often said this when we've had lives or conversations in the past that they have too much talent and too much depth at their disposal because you can only bring so many players and you can only put so many players on the field at the same time. So for France, you know, a lot of the guys that have been making moves this offseason, like Abubakar Kamara to Aston Villa and Aurelien Chouameni to Real Madrid previous to that. Guendouzi finally closing his Arsenal door and opening the Marseille one permanently.
And Saliba.
And Saliba. So you have a lot of these guys that have question marks. They're undoubtedly talented, but have question marks around whether or not they're even going to play a part. Chouameni, you can bank on it. You can bank on the fact that he's going to play a part, barring injury. But for France, come on, look at who they're playing against, and I mean no ill will or ill respect towards Australia or Tunisia or Denmark. You know that I think Denmark's going to get through, right? We know I have a Scandinavian bias, and I'm not afraid to show it. But France, I think because of who they're going up against in Australia, Tunisia, I think they will be through, and they'll be through okay. It's whether or not they come with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, or they know that I think the curse will get broken. I think that they won't take these guys lightly, unless the dancing bear, right? The dancing goalkeepers in goal for Australia. What was his name? Redmayne or something that dances all around. Anyway, I think France is going to be fine. I do think, Denmark is going to have a solid core. Whether or not they get Kjaer back, they need him back from injury. But a Christensen at Barcelona is going to get plenty of time. We know that, right? And I think there's depth there beyond that. You've got Alexander Ba. You know, if Joachim Mela isn't going to do it for them, you've got Alexander Ba, who just moved from Slavia Prague to Benfica for 8 million. And I think he's a guy that a lot of people don't know a lot about. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. But if that doesn't work out, guess what? You've got Rasmus Christensen, who moved to Leeds, USA. And I think they're going to be great. But ultimately, I think it's France, then it's Denmark. But there is one player I want you to watch out for. That is not on either of these teams, because we could talk about France's squad selection until we're blue in the face. But Australia has a player that could do some things, all right? And he's not a Wonderkid. He's 26 years old. His name is Awer Mabil, and he has 6 goals already for the Socceroos. And he just joined Cadiz in La Liga, which I know doesn't strike fear in the hearts of anybody here.
Yes.
But he's fun. He's fun to watch.
Mm.
He's played in the Super League. He's done well there. He's played in the Danish Super League. Done well there. He's played in the Portuguese Premier Liga. I think for Passos Ferreira. I could be wrong.
Okay.
And he's done well there. So
Okay.
I think if you want to watch one player on Australia, he's one of the guys I really would be looking out for.
I like it. I like it. And I just want to say here with Reza, okay, I will mention here at the start again, Nkunku. I love that mention. And I will go here and say I completely agree with you. If Griezmann, a player that hasn't scored a goal in 20 games, is starting over a player that scored 40 goals this season in Nkunku, that is a tragedy. A French tragedy, okay? And Nkunku should and must start ahead of Griezmann, okay? Status, no status, is pure logic in my opinion. So I completely agree with you, Reza. Sorry.
No. I just have to ask, looking at it beyond Nkunku and beyond Griezmann, who do you start at center back between Koundé, Lucas, Varane, Kimpembe? You can throw Upamecano in there if you really want to. Konate,
Saliba didn't play well in the Nations League. That's the only reason I am a bit... Because if France go here with, we don't believe in a curse, nothing's happening, we're going with the experience, okay? We're going with Lucas Hernandez and Varane. Right. That most probably... that will be the duo in the World Cup. But if they go bold and put a Koundé that certainly deserves, a Saliba that if we see he goes bold at the beginning at Arsenal, he deserves it too. Upamecano, I believe he can do bits with De Ligt if that duo happens. So a lot of options, but I believe he'll go with the experience. And yes, Tunisia, Adel Mesri, gotta shout him out. But Tunisia as a group, play extremely well, okay? This is a very good team that I feel will definitely, in here in my predictions, will go ahead of Australia in my opinion. And it's a team that will be problematic for France and for Denmark, Tunisia. This won't be an easy team to beat in my opinion. But I will edge with Denmark and, yeah, France. Come on, beat the curse with the debt that you have. Oh my days. But yes, put your predictions, people, down below. Who do you think is going to go through in Group D? Go bold and tell us. So, yeah, Group E.
Let's keep going.
Group E with Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan, okay? And I got to start by saying the two European giants are the two favorites. But Costa Rica, do not sleep on them. Costa Rica... both national teams, Spain and Germany, let's be honest, striker Morata and Werner. Werner is different, or Kai Havertz, for the national team, but Costa Rica has Keylor Navas, which can be the kryptonite for a team that doesn't have a top-level striker, a world-class striker, like Germany and Spain. So,
Hey, Costa Rica has been to the quarterfinals. Right?
Fox.
They've been to the World Cup quarterfinals. Fox. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have Keylor Navas. So I don't think you can sleep on them, but at the same time, Germany and Spain are going to be pretty tough. And looking at both of them right now, you would say they're both trending upwards again. Right? With the injection of, the Barcelona cohort that we know we're going to talk about very shortly. But also, I think one of the biggest developments that people might not be, maybe it's kind of just slipped by them. Okay. But I don't know if this was done on purpose, but Nicolas Sula and Nico Schlotterbeck, two of the leading candidates to start at center back for Germany, they are both now on the same team, club team. And they will be getting ample reps together. They will be playing and slogging through the Bundesliga together before they get on that plane for Qatar. So I think that could be a great, great thing for the German defense because we know that the Germans have a pretty high-powered offense right now, as does Spain. But you don't think so?
Well, I mean, think Germany in past years, I feel like Mueller, like he's retired, or is he gonna play next World Cup? Like, so it's You know what I mean? Havertz.
Sure.
Havertz has to step up big time, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
believe Spain. I'm going to focus here on Spain, in my opinion. Yeah, Rudiger, definitely. Rudiger.
Yeah.
Like, he'll go
Rudiger.
bold. Rudiger, he's got that responsibility. In Spain, I'll say Spain here. I'm going to say, for me, legitimately, Pedri or Gavi can become the young player of the tournament, the World Cup.
Yeah.
This is
No doubt.
totally possible. And if that happens, it's because they go bold in the group stages and in the knockout stages. And that midfield will not be easy to beat. The Spanish midfield is elite. Elite. And I believe fully that Gavi, I saw him against Portugal, man, and I got scared, okay? So I'm going to say here that Pedri and Gavi will top the group. Spain will top this group. And Costa Rica, here, I'm not going to give a final prediction, but don't be surprised if I go bold completely. But I'll say Germany.
Sure.
But let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Karim Adeyemi, I hope he can get some experience too. He can go bolder, but yeah, let's wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is where if Keylor Navas stands on his head and can get a draw against a Spain or a Germany, then he's done basically all he can do here, because it's the same people leading the charge. It's Joel Campbell, it's Celso Borges, it's Brian Ruiz leading the charge for Costa Rica, and they're all like 52, right, in age. Yeah, exactly. Like, they've been around forever. I know Joel Campbell is not 52, and I'm joking on this. There is a kid that I want you to watch out. Exactly. There is a kid I want you to watch out for Costa Rica, and his name is Jewison Bennett. He's very good. He's 17 years old. I think he could make a mark. He might even start for Costa Rica in this group. But yes, Spain and Germany are the two you really got to watch out for here, and I completely agree with you. Pedri, Gavi, could an Ansu Fati really, if he's healthy, find a way to make a massive, massive mark for them, because I think he would not be one of those kids, as he's shown, that would be scared of the opportunity presented for them. We know Morata plays better for Spain than he generally does for clubs, even though he plays for ridiculously amazing clubs and subpar, I got to say. And he's got the best. Who is his? You probably know this. Who's his agent?
I have no idea, I'll be honest with you, but a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one. So it's, I see. So Japan too. Like, we gotta say, like, Tomiyasu is a player that at Arsenal we all saw Tomiyasu's impact, crucial, and the Celtic crowd, okay, Rio Atata. That I love him. He impressed me with the goal involvements. I like that kid.
Dazon Maeda, Maeda, I don't know how to say that last name, but he's also pretty good. A great value. On Big Ange has shown that he was an eye for talent in the J League. But then you also have, and I think this is actually a good move, Takumi Minamino is moving from Liverpool to AS Monaco, right? And he will be top dog at AS Monaco. He likely should start. And he's going to start with some very good players like Kevin Volland, Ben Yedder. So he's going to make his opportunities. He's going to get his opportunities. He should be in crystally, clear form heading into this. So yeah, Japan is one of those teams that, I don't know, could Japan be the South Korea of, was it 2002 when South Korea beat Italy?
Well, that can be.
I think
that Japan can do it, and Kubu is a player that has amazing World Cup. All of a sudden in January, or let's say in the summer, he gets a move. So for Kubu, extreme importance. Extreme importance.
It is. I'm almost ready. I hate to say this, but I'm almost ready. He's so young still. I'm like ready to call time on Takefusa Kubo. He's wonderful with the ball.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I think he's one of those players that believes he should be somewhere
else
than where he is right now. Right? So he's not exactly present, and sometimes he just loses that concentration. He doesn't play like he is present, like a Minamino. Every time a Minamino gets on the field, he is there to make some sort of an impact that doesn't always wind up on the stat sheet, but man, there's a reason why that guy scored so many good goals for Liverpool before they shipped him off. Takefusa Kubo, all I gotta say, the guy was born with golden feet. Ultimately, prove us wrong. I want to see you prove us wrong. I would love to see a Japanese team led by the flair of Takefusa Kubo, just rampaging through this group, sending one of these favorites of France and Germany, of Germany and Spain home.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be pretty awesome? So
amazing.
Just gotta say.
Amazing. So yes, people, put down below who do you think will go through in Group B, and yes, let's go with Group F fast. Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. And I'm going to say at the start here, I believe fully in Croatia and in the bold experience of Luka Modric. And I believe they will go through in this group. And there's a legit possibility that Belgium flop. Because Hazard, he's got to go bold this season, but we still haven't seen it. Lukaku, we all know what happened in the summer. So there's a lot of doubts, but Courtois, the wall. Courtois, the final wall. The hero of Belgium, okay, in my opinion. So I got to say, Croatia, in my opinion, will go through definitely. But I'm going to say Belgium should, but Morocco and Canada definitely. We got some mentions here, don't we, Breton?
Yeah, we do. But hey, Belgium, Canada, Croatia. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to make my decision just yet. Let's walk through. Let's walk through, because my biggest fear is the same fear most people have had with Belgium. I agree with you. They are in dire shape. I'm sorry, not dire shape. Not dire shape at all. They have Kevin De Bruyne. They have Lukaku, who is going to be happy at Inter, I guess, even though Antonio Conte is not there, right? But we all are worried about that defense. Right, we're all worried about that defense. You got Courtois, but ahead of them, you got a 35-year-old Vertonghen, 33-year-old Toby Alderweireld, right? Behind that, you've got like a Brandon Michel. You've got the one guy I really would, hopefully he can take a big step forward over the next 4 months in Serie A. I think he's at Bologna, is Arthur Theet. Okay, he has been very good in Serie A since he went on loan. And he's a guy that I think he's 21, 22 years old. He could potentially make that center back position his heading into this World Cup. I don't know how. But I think spending another World Cup relying on Vertonghen, relying on Alderweireld is going to be very, very dangerous against these three teams. These three teams are who you don't want to be playing if you've got an aging center back group. I don't know.
Nightmare for Belgium having Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. They are the one of the favorite nations that are biggest trouble. Definitely, this for me, Group F is the group of death, in my opinion, because Belgium can die, and most possibly that can happen, in my opinion. So I'm going to say, put down below, people, your predictions for Group F. Go bold. And let's see if you go bold with Croatia too. So now, Group G. Sorry, I said in Portuguese here, Group G.
You did say it in Portuguese. But you won't even let me talk about the Canadians? I got to talk about the Canadians.
Sorry. Yes, definitely.
Come on.
Yes, no.
Excellent. I mean, come on. Canada, listen to this. They're going to their first World Cup in a very long time. They are technically the CONCACAF champions. They have Jonathan David. They have Alphonso Davies. They've got Tejan Buchanan, who I think is going to take another step forward this season. They also just brought Kyle Larin, who was one of the top scorers in the Turkish Super League. They brought him to Belgium to play at Club Brugge with Tejan Buchanan. And they've got some young bucks behind that they've got some pieces to really rankle some nerves. The issue is going to be whether or not the stage is too big, right? Whether or not they come in and they play as they played with no fear throughout CONCACAF with a plan. I think John Herdman, their main man, is going to be able to do that. So I would not be surprised if Canada surprises a Croatia or a Belgium and finds its way through. I know I did say 6 months ago when they qualified that they were virtual locks, in my opinion, to make their way through. That sheen has come off with their Nations League playing. So it'll be really interesting to see once people have watched all the tape, once they've prepared for a Canada, which you better believe a Morocco is going to do, all these teams are going to do, whether or not they can solve it. And, I don't think heart wins all. But if you've got Hart and Alphonso Davies, you're in a pretty good place.
Croatia and Morocco beat you.
Yeah, man. I expect for Croatia, though, Josko Gvardiol, man. Josko Gvardiol is going to have one hell of a World Cup for them. And hopefully he'll put to rest that Croatia is old. Kind of moniker that has been thrown out there.
And Majer too, Lovro Majer, both I think will do that. And players like Brozovic will once again be talked by the whole world. And people say he's so underrated, because he plays in Serie A. And if Brozovic was in the Premier League, everybody would know this Croatian midfielder. Definitely one of the best out there, okay? And what he does. So, Group G here, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And you know what? I'm already getting nervous because I said Brazil. And I know expectations are for Neymar to go bold and yes, have a chance to win the Ballon d'Or if he wins the World Cup. That is a huge if, but I believe can happen. So Neymar, come on. Você tem seu mais brabo da zona, do Rio, do Brazil, of the world. He has to go bold. So, yeah, Brazil, I gotta start here with Brazil.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head because I know exactly what you just said in Portuguese. Sure. No.
I have another thing I gotta say, too, for Brazil. I don't know if a lot of Brazilians will agree with me, but for me, Gabigol should never be picked ahead of Hulk for the national team this season. Hulk is a menace, and if you watch the Copa do Brasil, Atlético de Mineiro against Flamengo, Hulk destroyed Flamengo, okay? He was a menace, and this season, he is ready. And Hulk has World Cup experience. And let's be honest, there's no striker for Brazil. I don't have a feeling they got a proper striker, okay? If they're putting Gabigol, Gabriel Jesus is a winger for Tite. Come on, a lot needs to happen. And I believe Hulk should be called for the national team. Sure.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Definitely.
I mean, this is where the 26 roster spots comes into play, right? Mm-hmm. If you've got 26 instead of 23, why not? Why not?
Put Hulk.
Have Hulk there, right? Exactly. One of the things I did see that we're probably going to see a very Premier League heavy Brazilian squad heading to Qatar. I mean, you've got Bruno Guimaraes in the midfield. You've got Fred. Let's not forget Fred. And watch him have a phenomenal year under Ten Hag. We'll see. But now you've got the three Gabriels. I don't know I doubt Martinelli's going, but we know Gabriel Jesus, and we know likely Gabriel. I don't know how to say that last name. How do you say Magalhães?
Magalhães. Gabriel Magalhães.
Yeah.
Magalhães.
Thank you. So you've got quite a Premier League squad. Oh, and the Villa crew, right? Coutinho, Douglas Luiz, maybe. You've got Diego Carlos at center back. So there is this cool contingent that we're going to be able to watch week in, week out.
And, you mentioned center back, and for me, Marquinhos got to start. And the biggest doubts for Brazil, in my opinion, is will Thiago Silva go to the World Cup?
Right.
This is a player that's 3-6 months can make a difference, but I believe in the longevity of Thiago Silva and Marquinhos would be the boldest duo, in my opinion, okay? And put Alisson Becker there. I put Alisson ahead of Ederson. That it can be a debate, but I would put Alisson, Marquinhos, and yeah, there you go. And I want to mention too, Paquetá. One half, this man for Brazil is always a menace. One half, just put him in the second half. Paquetá makes a whole difference. And this is the World Cup. That Vinicius Junior scored in a Champions League final. He can score too in a World Cup final, okay? He's got that experience. He knows the responsibility. Being a Galactico, world-class levels. So Vinicius Junior has to be mentioned here. And Rodrigo and Anthony, if he gets called up, he can always make something happen too. And Casemiro, the holding midfielder that makes everything be secure at the back too. The experience that you need in a midfield. We saw that in the Champions League, and I think we will see it in the World Cup. He starts ahead of Fabinho. So Casemiro, Yeah, that's another player that
There's just a lot of talent. And what I'm most intrigued about is if Vinicius Jr. can play with Neymar consistently at the largest international stage, the same way he was able to play with Karim Benzema.
That is a
right?
very good question, and I think the answer is no. Unfortunately,
Oof.
but hopefully they manage to make something happen, that duo. But Benzema and Vinicius is just an elite link up, and Benzema was criticizing Vinicius' shot last season. Do not pass to that man. Now pass to him. So yeah, but I gotta mention Serbia. Serbia, in my opinion,
Yeah, of course.
We'll gonna say it. Serbia, in my opinion, is second in this group. Okay, Switzerland and Cameroon. Switzerland can be slept to, and I know I wouldn't be surprised if Switzerland do pass. Okay, it wouldn't be shocking because Switzerland is a solid group, and players like Seferovic starts, but Okafor isn't a great striker, and he's on the bench for a Swiss national team. So they got talent. They got a lot of talent. Denny Zakaria, Xhaka, two players that play really well for them in the national level. So, but Serbia.
Embolo.
Yes.
Embolo.
Oh, yes, Embolo, completely.
If he's healthy.
But Serbia, I'm going to say Dusan Vlahovic can be another player that becomes the young player of the tournament if Serbia are dark horses, that I definitely believe that can happen. You got players like Tadic being experience, goal involvement's elite. You got so much to work with. So I believe Serbia will go through, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Milinkovic-Savic is I think the largest name on that list there.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, SMS, and I still would love, and I would love to see him make a move to the Premier League, leave Lazio behind. Sorry if we have Lazio supporters here, but I mean, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic he's just such a well-rounded, just a phenomenal player, and I think if he has a bad tournament, then it doesn't matter if you've got Luka Jovic, Vlahovic, and Mitrovic all lined up top. Serbia is not going to do anything if Milinkovic-Savic does not show up this tournament. And I have a feeling he absolutely will. One of the largest, so Dusan Vlahovic, obviously massive. You already mentioned him. Okay. But one of the largest things, a really good thing for all Serbian supporters, is to see Luka Jovic finally move on from Real Madrid. And he is going to be charged with taking over or supplementing Arthur Cabral as Dusan Vlahovic's replacement at Fiorentina next season. And that is a massive, massive development if you're a Serbian fan that feels they have to put all of their chips on a Dusan Vlahovic or on Mitrovic somehow scoring goals in the World Cup after, obliterating the championship. And we'll see which Mitrovic shows up in the Premier League this time around. But the other important player there, veteran presence, you probably mentioned him in your talk. But yeah, I mean, Dusan Tadic. If Dusan Tadic shows up, this team is just, there's so many ways this team can bite you. And I'm excited, man. I mean, Serbia, it is one of those things where Serbia is phenomenal on paper. It's whether or not they can do it on the big stage. True. And we haven't really seen that yet.
And I see here comments on Cameroon, and just want to mention here fast with Cameroon, one of the best players is the goalkeeper, Andre Onana, and I love the move to Inter, okay? Inter, great decision, okay? And in Serie A, you need more keepers like him, in my opinion, that he will be elite. Elite, okay? With those
here's the thing. Is he going to start? I mean, you still have Captain Handanovic there.
But it's just Onana long term. I believe he's got to be that choice. But maybe they want to make some money because Inter now they look like they need some cash. But yeah, I agree with you, Handanovic.
Well,
I can't sleep on him. Thank you.
if Serbia has a fearsome attack force, right, and backup strikers like out the wazoo. That's a weird saying. I apologize for using it. Cameroon, as we saw in the African Nations Cup, also does. And Akambe, Abubakar, even young guys like Ignatius Ganago, Choupo-Moting, who I think re-upped. He'll be at Bayern again. I mean, these guys are ready to head into it and get it done. for Cameroon. But, I think where they kind of lose me is that midfield. I mean, I just don't know. I feel like that midfield's going to get overrun, and we'll see. That's why I can't put Cameroon moving on. I got to put Serbia, Brazil, kind of easily.
I'd say Switzerland can beat Cameroon too, in my opinion. But they surprised in AFCON. Something can happen. So
yeah,
you never know, right? It's
tough. Yeah, Switzerland. They've got a bunch of solid parts, and they will pick you apart if you play a subpar game. And it's just tough. Like, I know Sheridan Shaqiri made his move to Chicago Fire. He's in MLS, and he's been pretty underwhelming. Been pretty underwhelming for the amount of money that he sucked out of the Chicago Fire. But no, Switzerland always seems to help. I mean, this is the team that knocked France out of the Euros.
Exactly.
So
we got to watch out for Switzerland. But Serbia, go bold, okay? Let's wait and see what happens. So put down below your predictions for Group G. And now, woo! If I was hyped for Neymar, what am I going to be for this man, okay? It's Group H with Portugal, temos cá, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. And I said, I know I mentioned the World Cup top contenders, and I forgot to put Portugal, that I fully believe Ronaldo, that this Ronaldo move, chit-chat, is the best thing that could happen for Portugal, in my opinion, because the whole world will be judging any move that Ronaldo does to any other team. Is it Bayern? Is it Chelsea? Whoever, the world would judge. And Ronaldo knows that the World Cup will be the stage that he's going to justify being the best ever. Okay? And go bold that I believe, this is my prediction here, Ronaldo will be the top goal scorer in the World Cup. This is my prediction. I believe he will be the top scorer in this World Cup. Ronaldo. I believe he will be.
I believe that this tournament will end in tears for Portugal.
Hey, whoa, why?
I just have a feeling. I have a feeling. So some of the names that we haven't talked about, you're still riding Cristiano Ronaldo's coattails at 37. Hoping he's gonna be your leading scorer. So maybe I should say that this is likely going to be
24 goals for United.
I know.
What?
He's 37, man. Let's see. Let's see if it holds up.
Is he a top 3 goal scorer in the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean he's scored a bunch of goals for a team that completely underperformed. So we'll see. And you don't even like the coach that is taking you to this tournament.
But so the coach, I gotta respect.
I know.
And he won the Euros, and he won the Nations League. Oh my days.
Right, and I gotta also say that unless there's changes over the next 4 months, you've got 3 guys that just left for like 120 million euros with a whole lot of target put on their back, right? Vitinha to PSG. You've got who's the other one? Come on, Fabio Vieira to Arsenal.
Never got called for Portugal.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
right,
better.
And these names, they're depth, or these are guys that are going to be salty because they're not going to be playing a part in this World Cup. You have some insane parts, no doubt about it. But I just, a good chance to get through this. I just think in the next round, I don't think Ronaldo's 37-year-old legs are going to be up. Now,
will Portugal top the group in your opinion? Group H.
Will Portugal top the group? In my opinion, no. I think Uruguay is going to top the group.
Well, Portugal. Prove President wrong, man. Let's go with it. And what I gotta say here is Portugal didn't play with Ruben Dias in the Nations League. No Ruben Dias. No João Felix. And most importantly, we saw in the Euros his importance. No Renato Sanches. And we got players like David Carmo that went to Porto now for 20 million. He didn't even touch the field. So I'm gonna say here, just like Messi with Argentina, a ton of weight. Portugal and Ronaldo, he will feel that weight too, because this is the last dance for both the legends of the game. So I'm going to say here, obviously, Portugal topping the group. And something else that I got to say too. Portugal is one of the best national teams in the world in terms of fullbacks. No denying that with Nuno Mendes and João Cancelo. Okay? Nuno starts above Rafael Guerreiro, in my opinion, clearly. And Cancelo, come on, for the national team in that right back spot, total menace. He runs the game from the right with the elite link up with Bernardo Silva. So, with all due respect, I'm going to say Portugal topping the group, but I'm not going to sleep on Ghana. But Uruguay, look, shout out to Darwin Núñez. I saw how a menace that guy was. And for Liverpool, he will be elite. Fede Valverde with an assist in the Champions League final. And the player that I want everyone to remember, Ugarte from Sporting, okay? Remember this name. And Ronaldo Araújo, the man at the back, one of the best center-backs in the world. And he will be a key player that we have to defeat, okay? Portugal, we got to defeat him. So, yeah, and shout out to Ghana. What are these? What are these players all of a sudden? Ghana.
I know.
What?
I know. Call in the reinforcements. They just got them. Inaki Williams. You've got Mohamed Salisu. You've got Tariq Lamptey. I mean, they're going to have a few. It's just whether or not they can all play as a team.
True, exactly.
You know,
True.
But that's an issue. You got 4 months to figure that out. So good luck.
But in South Korea too, like Son. Look, Son is one of the best players, definitely in Group H. So I gotta be scared of Son when we face him. But Pep will do the job and we'll lock him up. Man. Pep at 39, longevity, and Ronaldo and Pep, elite. Imotin, shout out to Imotin. Shout out to Motin.
Yeah, I mean, listen. In some respects, I almost feel like this could be the group of death. I know that we don't uniformly think that, but in some respects, I feel like this could be the group of death because these are 4 incredibly tricky teams. 4 very, very tricky teams. Portugal. I mean, with Portugal, it's not that I want to see you end in tears, right? I don't want to see you cry at all, Alex. I don't. But I just feel it is going to come down to whether or not Fernando Santos can, I don't know, engineer all of this talent. He's got who's your midfield right now?
Look,
who's your midfield?
The midfield is a bold question that you can ask, and I won't say a final decider on my midfield because I see news of Renato Sanches leaving Lille for 10 million. And if Renato Sanches leaves a club for 10 million, it's because there's clear injury doubts, okay?
Yeah.
So knowing that, with that, I fully expect Moutinho to be there. And I don't want to say more. Moutinho, I feel, will be there, okay? Hope in the best national team that I will go bold for sure before the World Cup. I would love to put a Vitinha there. I would love. By then, Vitinha is doing bits at a PSG, but it's a wait and see answer type question. Breton. I'm sorry for you.
That is for sure.
Carvalho, nah, but that's too bold. If he gets called up, it's because he's doing 5 goals, 10 goals, maybe. But that would be.
Yeah, but we can talk about Fabio Carvalho, but Otavio is going to be on that plane, right?
Exactly. Otavio. But Otavio, let's be honest, that man is a very good system player. And for the system of Fernando Sanches, Otavio fits the bill. This player, if you watch Otavio play, you will see a player never stopping and the type of player other players love to play with. And that's why he's so valuable for Porto and valuable for Portugal, as we saw in the playoffs. And yeah, what a game, man. Otavio, all respect. But if Felix is in form, come on. Yeah. I go Felix above if he's in form, okay, at the level we know. And I got to mention too, Rafael Leão. Leão, Ruben Dias, João Felix, Ronaldo. What do we need more, man? Let's go bold and win this World Cup. Fernando Sanches. Please, man, if Ronaldo wins the World Cup, I swear, I will go bold twice live on stream, man. Twice if I have to do.
You got to do a little more than that. I don't know. Just saying going bold. You're gonna have to describe this for us.
Literally, I will let it grow, and I'll do it again if we win the World Cup, man. Twice.
Now, I want you to grow. No, never mind. So I just think, Group Group H is a fun one. And Ghana, we didn't even mention because we were talking about the reinforcements that were called in.
Fast, yeah.
You've got some incredibly fun players that are going to get their chance on this big stage, and that is like Kamaldeen Sulemana. You're going to have Mohamed Kudus. You're going to have Issa Haku, who should have 4 months at Sporting under his belt, whether it's for the B team or the actual team remains to be seen. So Ghana actually has, quite a young basis to build off of, and I don't know. I mean, they might. I don't think they'll get through. But
I was feeling you were gonna say we're gonna.
No, I can't. I already said my piece. I said Ronaldo's going to end in tears, and you didn't like that, and I understand that. But it is,
Cap.
It is the last time. There's no way that man is going 2026. Is there? There's no way Cristiano Ronaldo is going at 41 years old.
Longevity. He's got the body of a 21-year-old. Okay, this man can't do anything. And if he goes to the MLS, that we said it. If football, the real football is the #1 sport in the States, is with Messi and Ronaldo, the 2 most followed people on earth in Major League Soccer, then I believe something's cooking behind the scenes. Something.
Yeah,
Conspiracy theories here. Conspiracy.
You're gonna bankrupt our league. You're gonna bankrupt Major League Soccer. I want it to survive. No, I'm kidding.
Richer than ever.
No, with the world. Yeah, with the World Cup coming in 2026, you're going to see a lot of investment into Major League Soccer and beyond. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And I do believe it might not be all 3 of them by the time 2026 rolls around, but this is kind of a cop-out. At least one of them will be in MLS by the time 2026 rolls around.
I believe the 2 of them, man. You need the ratings, and to have ratings, you need a rivalry. You need a rivalry. You need 2 people. You need a ballet dance between, like we saw in the Ballon d'Or for years. We need that in the U.S. So Ronaldo and Messi, go bold. And maybe Neymar. Make it a trio. Go to Miami. Join Paul Pogba. Go with Neymar. Be with Beckham in Miami. That can happen, man. So, go down below. Put down below your Group H prediction with Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. And make sure you go bold and do not forget to say your World Cup prediction here, okay? We want to know your thoughts of the top goal scorer, young player of the tournament. We want to know what you are thinking. And if you're here until now, please like this video. 3 seconds to like the video. Come on. Thank you. Thank you for liking the video and going bold and joining here, the World Cup talk. And any last thoughts, Breton?
No, man. All I know is that
the U.S. will go.
2 months. 2 months from now, we're going to do this again, and we're going to have completely different information because the season will have started.
Exactly,
so,
it deserves another one. And thank you for joining FC Wonderkid World Cup Talks with a couple of bold predictions, and you win bold if you're